Behaviour specialist Sue Cowley has come to Whitton Middle School in Worcestershire. She's here to help teacher Jenny Gunston with a Year 5 science lesson, utilising musical instruments to understand pitch. Sue will be coaching Jenny from a room nearby, using microphones and cameras hidden from the children. She'll be providing Jenny with some instant advice and support through a hidden earpiece. Sue will also be commenting throughout the lesson on how Jenny is managing her class.
Well, this year in the class, there are quite a few children who've got the habit of answering back. So finding ways to make them realise that that's not quite the approach that we want within the class and keep the flow of the lesson going so it remains positive.
So what I'm looking for today is ways to help her out. What can she ignore? What shouldn't she ignore? The class is just coming into the room.
He's got his instrument, he's sitting down. Brilliant, that's just what I want. Well done, Ayaka, well done, Jake. Sit down in your literacy place. Right, if you suddenly heard... Isn't it strange how hands are supposed to be still? But I suddenly heard a guitar string going over there. If I suddenly heard quack, 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 it would be a duck. If I suddenly heard...
Look at the way she's using her voice. Isn't this lovely? Yeah? Different sounds. Sounds like she's questioning them, sounds curious. Beautiful, really beautiful.
I think it's called a pneumatic drill, and it's what they dig up the pavements with, and it makes a sort of a vibrating sound. Okay. So we're going to be looking today at evaluating your homemade musical instruments. What was the task that you were set?
Was it to make an instrument that would make a sound?
But there was something special about that sound. Something special. Louis, you picked your instrument up, put it down. What was special about that sound? It had to do two things.
What sound?
The sound from your instrument. And Tom, can I remind you, you've just called out.
Vibrate.
What she's trying to do here, it's interesting, she has a specific thing in mind that she wants them to say. And often when teachers get into using these kind of closed, it's essentially a closed question. She wants them to give her a specific answer because that word is part of her objective for the lesson. But when you get into using the closed questions, often you close off other interesting opportunities.
No.
So I'll let her go ahead and get her word, but I'm not convinced that it's worth spending a lot of time trying to get it.
Trying to change.
Sometimes you can just tell them.
Volume. Okay, so if we've got a sound and we can create the pitch and the volume and we can alter it, we've got to know what those two things are. What is pitch? Pitch. Anyone like to explain to me?
Is it the high and the low? Is it the high and the low?
It is how high, how low something goes.
We're 15 minutes into the lesson. Now, it started out and it was all very kinesthetic. Get your instruments, take them to your desk. And now the children haven't actually got to use their instruments yet. And I do wonder if it would have been easier for her to quickly do this introduction. What's pitch? And so on. And then get the instruments out. I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes.
Would you please just explain to the person that's sitting next to you how you think your instrument could change pitch and how you think it could be played loud or soft? 2 minutes, off we go.
Fantastic. I like the time target. Well done. And now they're on task. Yeah? I get to do it at last. So they've had that for 25 minutes, that instrument. So she might well think next time around maybe I'd give the instruments out a little bit later in the lesson.
How about coming out and standing by me?
Oh, brilliant, lovely. Get up to the front. Great
Bring your
idea.
instrument.
Unfortunately, it's not finished yet. But on mine...
Now, hold on. Take a deep breath and as loud as you can, because remember, speaking and listening is important. Shh.
If you want to change the pitch, you just gently...
You look at the way the children are paying better attention to their peer than they would normally do to the teacher, and it's always the way. If you can get kids up to the front, it is a fantastic thing to do. Jenny, that's lovely. They're really listening to her, aren't they? Yeah?
That's good.
That's
Well
brilliant.
Do you hear the note going down? We're changing the pitch. Now, can you do that at all on your instrument? That's what you're looking for. Helen.
I don't know how I can change my pitch because I haven't made...
It's essentially, this is the first time the children have been working independently. So again, it's quite teacher-led, teacher-controlled, which is often a response from teachers to the perception that there may be behaviour issues, when actually the opposite often applies. If you allow them just a little bit of leeway, kids will bang each other with a cardboard tube, but it's not going to kill them. You know, they're experimenting. That's what that is. That's an experiment. It's good. You can perceive that as misbehaviour, or you can perceive that as he's experimenting. I prefer the second.
No. Brandon, sit down, please. Sit down. Right, drummer boy, there you go. No, they're different. Leave them there.
Oh, it's not right.
Jenny, can he be given a kind of... Brandon, you've been asked twice. I need you to now stay in your seat. I don't know how he's going to respond, so that I'm going to leave that up to you.
One each. No, you'll be all right till the end of the lesson. Now, can we just sit down, because I have spoken to you twice, and it's cards, isn't it? And I don't really want to have to use them, but I will.
Use what?
The cards, the behaviour system. Do I need to give you a green?
Why?
You tell me why.
I don't know. The instrument is both flat.
Now, come on, we've talked about choices, and we've talked... Brandon?
OK, I would be tempted to let him go off and have his little moody, Jenny.
OK.
We can come back to him in a moment. I mean, it's so tempting as a teacher to get sucked into this. He's walked off. Yeah, and Jenny's obviously very calm. She's not going to get sucked into that. She's got other children need her attention. She can come back to him in a minute or two.
Brandon, Tom is wanting you to go and work with him.
Lovely. Well done, Jenny.
Yeah, but you helped make this instrument, so come on, let's try and evaluate it.
And there, she's offered him a positive option. That was great, Jenny. Well done. He's got a positive thing to do now. Come over here. Come on. Let's just get on with it.
Come on, then. Right.
Jenny, how about a bit of praise for those ones who are on task? This little girl with the blonde hair, fantastic. Just ignore those distracted ones for a few moments.
I want to really praise Megan here, because she's settled. She's got her instrument out. Green card. Go and get one.
And doing a sanction at the same time.
Card.
Well done, Jenny.
Thank you. Well done, girls. Well done.
There's an extent to which do you spend all your energy focusing on this one child who's not actually doing anything directly damaging at this precise moment? Or do you focus on all those children who are doing what they've been asked? Why shouldn't those children have your focus? And obviously if it was 5 or 6 or 7 kids all kicking off simultaneously, then you have to, it's crisis management. But, you know, that's just, he's trying to get a wind up.
Question 2.
And well done to Jenny, she's ignoring.
2 says, estimate how many sounds you think you can create from your instrument. Now, estimate. Estimate. Sam, what would you explain, or what would you say the word estimate means?
It means like you have to guess.
It's like guessing, but you've also got to think, is that possible? So you might have to try it out.
Maybe a little time target for them. So how long they've got left. Let's see if you can get it finished, something like that.
Looking at the clock, if we look over there, we're on 20 past, so let's have 2 or 3 more minutes, that's it.
Jenny, can you go across to where the door out of the classroom is? There's a little girl who's looking quite lost. She's twiddling her hair. She's got her hair elastic in.
Ayaka, haven't you got one?
Yeah, it's down there.
Right, oh, yours is fantastic. Look at this.
Lovely, well done.
Look. Is there a problem with what you're writing here? You all right? So, what does this one mean? Is it possible to change the pitch of any sounds, yes or no?
Excellent, Jenny. Thank you for doing that.
Everybody sat down.
Can we name check a few girls at this point, yeah?
On the chair.
April has all her things tidy in front of her.
Lovely, Jenny, well done.
Shh, April here. Brilliant. Hands up those who have successfully evaluated their own instrument. Shh. Well, I think some people in the room are not really answering me, so I'm going to try one last time. Hands down. Hands up those people who have successfully evaluated their own instrument. Superb. Stand behind your chairs.
I like that change of pace there, Jenny. That was lovely. So that was Jenny with her Year 5 science lesson, all about instruments and sound and pitch. Wonderful use of tone. She's got this lovely tonal quality, but perhaps a little bit too controlled. They didn't have quite as much fun as they might have done. Jenny, how do you feel it went? Did you get something useful out of that?
I feel as though the children understood the pitch and the volume by the end of the lesson, which is what we set out to do in the first place.
When I coached you to go in on Brandon there, was that the right thing to do at that moment? I wasn't sure because I don't know Brandon as well as you do. But I felt you had to say at that point, you had to say to him, you know, enough, I've asked you 2 times, 3 times.
Yes, he does know eventually what is right and what is wrong, and you can reason with him, and that's excellent. And it's teaching him what's right and what's wrong is an important part of his life.
Did you feel there was one too many tasks in that lesson?
It was crowded. There's a lot of equipment in here. It's difficult to organise, but I did think of splitting it and only having half of their instruments and then doing it again with the other half.
The one thing that we didn't hear was much music. Can you play the guitar?
Just a little.
I think it would have been
Just
lovely to hear
But I
you play.
promised my family I wouldn't.
Well, well done.